Today, we've got Nvidia's weirdest GPU yet. Ryzen 9000 prices are amazing. AMD is doing the impossible again, and the Ryzen 9950X is an overclocking champ. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, we have one weird GPU coming from Nvidia. As you can see right here, it says there's an RTX 30 card with an Ada Lovelace GPU. Say what? For those who don't know, Ada Lovelace is made for the RTX 4000 series. So what's going on here? Well, let's get down to it right here. It says Nvidia is said to be working on a new mobile graphics card called the RTX 3050A laptop GPU. Now, if you're one of my more astute viewers, you might instantly think that this is one of those weird Chinese Frankenstein GPUs where they take a mobile GPU and put it in a desktop card. But in fact, that doesn't look to be the case. As you can see right here, they actually found the SKU specifically in Nvidia's latest drivers. You can see it says Nvidia GeForce RTX 3050A laptop GPU. So we basically heard a rumor about this, and then it seemed to more or less be proven in Nvidia's own drivers. And as you can see right here, the weird part about this is the fact that the 8106 is currently in the RTX 4060 Ti, which comes with 4,352 cores, which is way more than the GA107 that the regular 3050 is based on. And in fact, it's even more than the AD107, which is 3,072 cores, that the RTX 4060 is based on. So you would think that this would at the very least be called something like an RTX 3060A laptop GPU, but instead they're going with the 3050 moniker. So really weird sort of all the way around. We really don't have much more information than that, except for the fact that this is quite possibly the weirdest GPU Nvidia's ever made. And next up for today, the closer and closer we get to AMD's Ryzen 9000 release, the more leaks we're going to start seeing about their upcoming CPUs. And of course, while they have actually delayed them until August, we already know quite a bit about them from performance, and actually we're going to find out more about that performance in a little bit. Really interesting story, but still, the main thing we really don't know for sure is price. Well, it looks like we actually got a little bit of an update on that from a Chinese shopkeeper. As you can see right here, it says 80IT, a computer hardware store based in Beijing, China and affiliated with Taobao, has put up what seems to be their expected prices for China. And believe it or not, they actually didn't stop there because they also gave US prices. So here is the prices in China, but then we actually have USD prices. And if you follow this channel, these will actually look very familiar. And of course, if you don't follow the channel, but you like PC hardware, what are you doing? Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon for all the latest PC hardware news. Either way, these prices are very familiar because they're identical to the ones we saw leaked a little while back. This one was actually a little odd because it was kind of a friend of a friend scenario. This was someone who had a friend that was with Best Buy and shared the prices. And as you can see, these are absolutely identical. We are talking $499 for the 9950X, which is a whopping $200 less than the 7950X, the 9900X down all the way to $399, the 9700X to just $299, and the 9600X to $229. Now, I will say that there is a chance that they actually just got these numbers from this other leak, but if anyone would know, obviously retailers are going to know before just about anyone else. And let's just say if these prices are right, Intel is in serious trouble. And speaking of Intel being in trouble, AMD's next-gen Zen 5 EPYC CPU just leaked, and it is absolutely bonkers. As you can see right here, this bad boy is a 128-core CPU. Now, right off the bat, you might think, oh, 128 cores, we've seen that before, but you may have forgotten that that is Bergamo, and that is not their full Zen 4 cores, that's actually Zen 4C. This is their full-on Zen 5 cores. meaning AMD has already gone up from 96 cores, which was almost already seemingly impossible at the time when they announced it, to a whopping 128 cores. Not only that, but it comes with an unbelievable 512 megabytes of L3 cache, up all the way from 384 megabytes from Genoa and double that of Bergamo. And what's wild is that this isn't even their X processors. If you remember, they actually released some wild 3D V-cache processors with Genoa X, getting upwards of 1.2 gigabytes of L3 cache, meaning the Turin X processors are set to have some unbelievable amounts of cache. Basically, this is one monster of a CPU, but the story doesn't end there. Here, you can actually see this is the CPU here, but you can actually see that we already have a benchmark. Specifically, we have one in CPU-Z where this processor completely obliterated every other processor before it. As you can see here, in single core, it did all right, nothing to write home about, 653.7, but then in multi-core, this bad boy got 108,093.3. For comparison's sake, when we look at, we have the Threadripper Pro 7955WX, that is, of course, 96 cores, 192 threads. Then we compare it to the 128 core Bergamo or 96 core EPYC 9654. It obliterates all of them. In fact, you can see that it got over double the performance of last gen's Zen 4 96 core monster, making this just seriously unbelievable. I know that sometimes I can kind of get overboard about things, but I just really get excited about tech, and this is definitely exciting. Not only that, but it completely destroyed the 128 core Zen 4C, going from 68,803, getting around 40,000 more points at, 108,093. Ultimately, AMD is continuing to one-up themselves time and time again. And lastly for today, we finally get to see some more normal overclocking, not liquid nitrogen kind of overclocking, on their next-gen Ryzen 9000 CPUs, and let's just say they get a ton of performance from this. As you can see right here, this one comes from a pre-launch sample of the 9950X, where it was actually able to get all the way up to 6 gigahertz. We don't know if this was water cooling or air cooling or anything like that, but we're pretty much positive that it's not liquid nitrogen or any of those wild overclocking, just because those got way higher. So this should be more of a traditional overclocking with water cooling, things like that, that regular users can expect to do. At least that's what most outlets are reporting this as. And it's understandable because, as you can see, the normal boost clock is 5.7 gigahertz, so this is only an overclock of around 300 megahertz. Well, while that's all this is, it actually got some unbelievable performance from this. As you can see right here, in single-threaded performance, it got a very impressive. These are both in Geekbench, so we're looking at Geekbench 5 and then Geekbench 6. And as you can see, in single-threaded score, it got 2,795, and then multi-threaded 30,050. And when we compare those scores to the stock configuration, we're looking at an increase of 10% in single-core and 13% in multi-core. But when we look at Geekbench 6, things get even better. As you can see right here, the 9950X pretty much crushed everything in single core, and moving over to multi-core, they did it even better there. When we look at these scores, you can see that it shows a 10% improvement in single core and 20% improvement in multi-core performance over the stock configuration. With that said, I will say that the stock configuration that they're comparing it to, at least if you ask me, is very much on the lower end. Don't forget that this is still an engineering sample, so that is more or less understandable. But if we look right here, you can see that when we compare it to the 14900KS, it still destroys that one as well. In fact, it is able to outperform it by a whopping 16% in single core performance and 19% in multi-core performance. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but Intel's set to release their next-gen Core Ultra 200 series before too long, but I highly doubt they're going to be able to beat this just because, for one, we've heard some murmurings that they may actually be getting clock reduction, and don't forget that those CPUs are set to do away with hyper-threading. Basically, this could be a massive downfall for Intel. So while that does it for today, are you planning to pick up one of AMD's next-gen Ryzen 9000 series, or are you wanting to hold off for their X3D chips? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And as always, have a great day.